Numetal is eligible to bid for Essar Steel, at least in the second form that it bid. And ArcelorMittal can bid should they actually clear all the pending dues. There is, of course, a third bidder in the fray as well, Vedanta. Let's toss it over to Payasunya Upadhyay and Vishwanath Nair, who's going to take us through this big story and all of its implications. Over to you guys.
Thanks, Ira. We will let's break down the three big takeaways from the limited information that we have from the NCLAT, which Ira pointed out. So the three big questions that we are posing right now on Insolvency Diaries is: are the RIAs finally out? Will complex structures that dilute the intent of Section 29A not going to hold up in any shape and form? And the third is: what's next for Essar Steel? And Vishwanath Nair is here to finally give us the background and the way forward for the RIAs. Vishay, you've been tracking this since the SDR days.
Yeah.
Are the RIAs finally out?
Yeah, so as things stand, as the situation is presently, we can say that RIAs are more likely to be out of the company than in control. Remember that Numetal, when they submitted this revised bid back in March, they took out Revant Ruia's shareholding from the company and got the other shareholders in Numetal to buy out that stake. That was about 25% worth of equity in that company. So there's VTB, there's an engineering company called TPE, and a trading company based out of UAE. All three shareholders have bought out that stake. So, Revant Ruia's connection with Numetal so far as the thing stand is now is over. That puts you to the next question that, what happens when Ruia step out of the company? Remember that the lenders have been trying to do this for a while now. In 2015, when SDR was the main norm that banks followed to resolve debt-related situations, they actually took Essar Steel and thought about implementing SDR. They wanted to get the promoters out and try and take that equity to manage the debt. But they were not able to do that. That discussion sort of fell through, and then later on SDR fell out of favor with the regulators as well as the bankers. So since then they've been trying to somehow resolve the debt, the situation in this. When the Insolvency and Bankruptcy Code was invoked against Essar Steel at that time, there was a lot of buzz about the Ruias being part of the main company that bids for the company. So, for example, Numetal was formed with Aurora Enterprises, which is a Ruia company, putting in the initial capital, and then the remaining shareholders joined in. Then, of course, November, the Section 29A amendment was brought in, and that was the big, stumbling block as far as the Ruias are concerned. So they were taken out of the game. Their first bid was called ineligible because Revant Ruia was still part of the company. Now that he's out, we can finally say that as things stand now, Ruias are definitely out.
Sure, and all along in the hearings, the Numetal had argued that blood relations should not be, tainted as a result of Section 29A. But that argument has clearly, from the limited information that we have, has not held up. We have Sanjay Asher, who's a partner at Crawford Bailey, joining us on the phone line. I'm coming to you with the second big question that we are tackling from this Insolvency Diaries today, from the Essar judgment. Mr. Asher, complex structures that probably dilute the intent of Section 29A after this NCLAT order, are we clear, are not going to hold up?
Yeah, I mean, once you are disqualified under 29A, in the second innings, you can't come out and say, okay, now I am eligible, and then bid for it. That is interpretation as far as 29A is concerned. But the good part of it is that the banks will be able to recover money, and you would have competition in terms of Numetal as also the ArcelorMittal, both of them bidding for the Essar assets. So on the whole, it is good that the banks will get more money out of it. But otherwise, strictly legally speaking, I mean, once Numetal was out, how can you say that now I have changed the structure and I have removed or the shareholding of Mr. Ruia, Revant Ruia has been divested, and that now we are eligible?
It's interesting. It's interesting, Mr. Rasho, that you raised this point. If I remember correctly, the NCLT Ahmedabad order had, directed the COC or had sort of set aside, what was happening in the insolvency case of Essar Steel on grounds that the COC had not followed due process. In that, not given the bidders enough time of 30 days to cure their, deficiencies arising as a result of Section 29A. So while Arcelor got the time to cure its deficiency or taintedness on account of Uttam Galva and KSS Petron, shouldn't Numetal also get an equal chance to cure that the fact that the shareholding was not kosher as a result of Section 29A?
No, but then everybody will start curing their defect and then come back and start bidding. Once there is a defect, there is a defect. You can't then say, look, I'm curing my defect and allow me to now bid. Either you are disqualified or you are qualified. You are pregnant or you're not pregnant. It can't be half pregnancy. Then, no, now I had deficiencies, now I'm curing it. And now I'm coming back and bidding for it.
So, but the law provides for those 30 days, right? So what is that for?
No, 30 days, but not for the purpose of curing a defect. If you are disqualified under 29A, how can you say that, no, now I will cure the defect? There is no provision to say that, look, if you are ineligible in 29A and now you cure the defect and you come back and bid.
So does that mean now that since the court has allowed the second round of bids to be eligible, then that in effect has given leeway for future cases where people can cure defects in their bids and come back with a stronger 29A proof bid?
Absolutely. This will form a precedent for which the bidders will come and cure the defect and not only the 29A defect, but any other defect, and come back and bid for the asset.
Okay, Sanjay, stay on the line with us. We also have Anil Agrawal, chairman of the third bidder, Vedanta. Mr. Agrawal, thank you for joining here on Bloomberg Quint. Your quick thoughts on the NCLAT judgment and good news for Vedanta now that the second round of bids is what the COC will now consider?
Hello? Yeah, hello?
Are we audible to you, Mr. Agrawal?
Yeah. See, this, I welcome the NCLT. They have worked very, very hard, and I welcome the way they have gone through and analyzed and given this judgment. A beautiful judgment, and put everybody together and made the things very, very simple. In electro steel, in the Bhushan steel, whatever has happened, the bid was open and the second round was open, and whoever was the highest bid, they have got it. So I believe the same thing will be here. All the three bids will be open, and whoever is the highest will go through.
Mr. Agrawal,
So, I really congratulate the way the NCLT has taken this process.
Mr. Agrawal, this is Vishwanath joining in this conversation. Just wanted to ask you, now you already have electro steel in the bag. You're bidding for Essar Steel. Let's say you succeed in that. What is your strategy as far as India goes with respect to these steel assets?
Beautiful. We were the highest producer of iron ore in the country, and it is a natural move for us to do the value addition. And we always thought we remain iron ore producer. But we have a 1 million ton plant to produce pig iron in Goa, and then we have a bid for electro steel, and then we look at for the Essar. So whatever comes, it's fine. We will run it well. Whatever plant, last 13 years we acquired 13 plants in the country, outside. We acquired Madras Aluminium, Palco, Hindustan Zinc, Essar Goa, Kane. All these companies we acquired, electro steel. Every company which we acquired, we have made sure that we would never reduce the people, we increase the production, we never gone for the debt to the market to raise. So we have that expertise. So whatever comes to our plate, we will make sure. But India has a huge potential, 1.3 billion people. Our Prime Minister has said that we need 300 million ton of steel. For that, we require 600 million ton of iron ore. And I'm looking a big picture where how we should not import. And import should be, I've always said India should not be made a dumping ground. What is happening in aluminium, we have a capacity of 4 million, more than 2 million being imported. And it, CD Tuticorin has been stopped. But 60% of copper which we used to supply to the 500 industry, now they all are importing. And see the fertilizer.
Sir,
if Tesagoa used to give 7 billion revenue foreign exchange to the government, it has gone.
Sure. So if I may bring back the focus to Essar Steel, final question. In terms of the process, like we said that, the second round of bids is what now the COC will consider. We don't know as of yet whether the COC has the leeway to tell the bidders to revise their bids. But if that is the case, is Vedanta open to that option?
There is no point in speculating, no? But there is no point. You are asking something which is not right, because the process was very well laid out. In electro steel, we have not asked. In Bhushan Steel, second round has taken place and it has gone. And that sanctity to be maintained, because lot more NCLT asset goes to come. And the sanctity of tender will not be there, then it will always be fish market.
Okay, all right, Mr. Agrawal.
If you see in the bidding of the iron ore, coal, you created the whole process and nothing started. You don't want industry to be sick.
Sure.
No, you have to maintain you should not do in a speculation. Either you say that there will be auction. So whoever put the auction, that's one. Then you've gone through the NCLT, decided, laid down the process. The process has been very well complied with. And the process has been successfully gone in a couple of cases. And we should look at that on the same basis.
Sure, absolutely. Of course, nobody is disputing, sir, that the sanctity of process is not important. But I was, like you said, was preempting probably a situation where the COC wants to call for revision of bids, and if at all, Vedanta would be interested in that.
I don't think COC also want this unnecessarily to create, because they want industry to run.
Absolutely, Mr. Agrawal. Thank you for
industry to run. In India, because of this process, industry doesn't flourish.
Sure. Thanks, Mr. Agrawal, for sharing your quick views on the NCLAT order. Appreciate you taking out the time to speak with us here. Ashish Chacharia, partner at Grant Thornton, is also joining us on the phone line. Ashish, your first quick views on the NCLAT judgment today?
Hi, good afternoon. Good afternoon to the viewers. Just a quick disclosure. Our firm is engaged as advisors to the COC for evaluating the bids. So I will obviously be, talking on a very publicly available information level, right? So, quick views. We are yet to see the actual order, so don't know the fine print yet, but definitely kind of looks interesting. I think the RP, in his announcement of ineligibility of the first round bidders, I think, was spot on. I think the NCLAT judge has, ruled in that favor. And now in the second round, there were some comments earlier on in the show talking about, whether it should be permitted or not permitted. And, I think the jury is out there. But I think because this was a revised bidding scenario, I think, and at the time of submission of the bid, the applicant needs to be eligible as per 29A. So technically speaking, possibly, both the bidders or all three bidders, may stand to be eligible. Of course, there are some conditions from what we hear from the verbal pronouncement today for ArcelorMittal to be eligible. So I think it's going to be interesting the next phase going forward. I think a long saga. I think finally we are seeing coming towards a close. I think Essar Steel is a wonderful asset. It needs to, find its right place and, move forward.
Right. Ashish, just wanted to bring in one question about, the initial process, the first round of reviews that were held for the two bidders, Arcelor as well as Numetal. So that seems to have been upheld by the NCLAT. The NCLT had questioned the COC on some of the finer points on how that process was conducted. But the NCLAT seems to be of the opinion that both of these bidders were ineligible as of that date.
Yes, as I said earlier, I mean, without reading the written order, we don't know the full details, but going by the pronouncement, it does appear that, otherwise why would they allow for the second round, bidding to be considered if the first round bidders were considered eligible? So it does appear that, the process that was run by the RP, has been upheld, and, ineligibility of both the bidders in the first round was upheld. Now the second round bids need to be considered. So it'll be interesting to see how the third bidder will be. Mr. Agarwal mentioned earlier in the show. I was hearing his comments. It'll be very interesting how the bid from Vedanta will be considered. It's not very clear at the moment, like I said, without the order in hand.
Right. Ashish, just one bookkeeping question. So, in the second round now, again, this assessment of Section 29A and its and how companies are agreeing to it. So that process is still pending, right, for the second round?
So the second round, bids are, as per the instructions of the courts, were yet sealed, and they were not even open. So the process, the RP will have to carry out the whole process, of looking at the eligibility of the bidders, and then of course the COC will have to look at the commercial evaluation of the plans and meeting the other mandatory contents, as per the IBC. So I think that process will have to be carried out fully, in my view.
All right, Ashish. Sanjay, thank you for sharing your quick views on what seems to be a good order for all the bidders who were fighting all along to bid for Essar Steel. So all three are eligible now. But as Ashish pointed out, the process is going to start afresh, and the clock will start ticking on the timeline as well, because all of this litigation period will not be counted in the 270-day timeline as prescribed under the Insolvency Code.